one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something to you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party! You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado, free smoke. Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop a million songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our block, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Greatness. Greatness happened?
Greatness.
Really?
You got a chance to witness greatness at its highest order. Skip, what word do I want to use? Was this the crescendo? Was this the zenith? The apex? The denouement?
That's a good word. I like that word. That's a good Hollywood word.
Welcome back. Had something in my throat. To another episode of Kicking It with Saint. And, you know, I say welcome back all the time, but if you've never joined us before, if you never joined me in one of these shows, then welcome for the first time. Hope to get you back for another show. This is the Super Bowl edition of Kicking It with Saint. Why is this the Super Bowl edition? Because we talking about the Super Bowl. We talk about the Super Bowl all the time. Yeah, but we don't recap the Super Bowl all the time. And the Super Bowl for the 2022-23 season just ended. Meaning this is essentially the last episode of the 2022-23 season. It has been an honor, a joy, a privilege to be able to talk to y'all about this beautiful game that we love so much, that we call American football. For those of you who joined me throughout the season, I appreciate you. I really do. For those of you who like, subscribe, shared, I appreciate you. You might not have liked everything I said. You might not agree with everything I said, but I appreciate you for joining and listening to me and sticking with me. I truly do appreciate that. We are here to break down the NFL Super Bowl 57 recap. The Kansas City Chiefs pull out one 38-35 against the Philadelphia Eagles. David tops Goliath, if you want to call it that. And this is exactly why I said in that episode, bro, it's just so hard to pick against Patrick Mahomes. It's so hard because I know greatness when I see it. And I'm not just talking about greatness. We see great players all the time. I'm talking about a generational talent that can legitimately move the needle. It's few athletes. It's a lot of great athletes. It's a lot of all-stars. There are very few athletes if you really sit back and look at it, that legitimately move the needle. Pat Mahomes is a needle mover, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I said it's so hard to choose to pick against him, because when you have a Patrick Mahomes, I told you a couple years ago, it might not have made sense to people at the time. Like, why is he comparing these two teams? Listen, a couple years ago, the San Francisco 49ers had a phenomenal defense. Lamar Jackson beat him in the regular season. What I took from that game, because the 49ers played a phenomenal game in Baltimore that day. What I took from that game, however, was, so a defense as great as the 49ers is can still be had when they play against a certain type of quarterback. It's not the offense that can get this defense. It's the quarterback. The quarterback got to be special. So then we go fast forward to this year, when the 49ers defense, once again, number one in the NFL, look unstoppable. And then Pat Mahomes have a field day against him. That reassured me, or reaffirmed my belief, or what I had felt like I knew, and that is that a great quarterback will find a way to nullify a defense, a legendary type defense, a historic looking defense, a above the entire crowd type of defense. That's what a legendary generational quarterback can do for you. I don't know who all picked the Eagles. I just won $20 off of the Chiefs winning this game, though. I just thought about that because I was at work the other day with my little homie O, and he was like, "Who you got winning the Super Bowl?" I said, I want Pat Mahomes to win it, but I want Jalen Hurts to win it because I've been following Jalen Hurts through his entire journey. But I don't want to see a great quarterback, a legendary quarterback like Pat Mahomes. I do not want to see him lose this game because I don't want to see him go 1-2 in the Super Bowl. I even told my people at work, listen, bro, Jalen Hurts can lose this and nothing won't affect his legacy. If Pat Mahomes loses this, now people start to talk about, oh, he 1-2, he can't win the big game and this and that. And I'm not here for that. I do not want that to even be able to happen. So while I was leaning towards the Chiefs all week, I decided to follow my football brain. Never again. I'm forever following my football heart because O was like, so after I explained that to him, he was like, man, I'm picking the Eagles too. And then he said, I want to bet. And so if you know O, because I know O, I already know how he works. So my brain already fast forwarded to what he wanted me to do. So I was like, fine, O, I'll bet you 20 that the Chiefs beat the Eagles, even though I just told you that I feel like I'm leaning towards picking the Eagles. I said, is you happy? He said, bet. And you better have my money on Tuesday, bitch. Like, O is a clown. I cannot see a future where he ain't like a sketch comedian or on some type of sitcom. This dude is absolutely hilarious. His comedic timing. Like, this dude is absolutely, I don't even know if he realized how funny he is. I don't know. O is one of them type of people who is so hilarious unintentionally and intentionally that you could legitimately sit around O for like an hour and you would laugh at every single thing he do, like legitimately laugh. But you would even start to question, am I giving this dude sympathy laughs or is he really funny? Nah, this motherfucker really funny. But with that being said, bit better have my money. I just want a clean 20 off of this. I like that. But listen, what a game. And I'm going to skip forward real quick and talk about what I know I'm pretty sure a lot of people will talk about, because there's a lot of things to talk about after this. What a game. It do feel as though it was a bit tainted at the end. A holding call was called on James Bradbury. I think it was a holding call. I thought it was a holding within the restraints of the 5-yard limit. However, this is my problem. The ball was uncatchable. Now, I know that don't got nothing to do with holding. That's what pass interference coming into play. But because of how, like, it's just judgment calls in a game where you have to ask yourself, did this really cost this dude a chance at making a play? It didn't. So I don't feel like that's a play that should have been called. I tell you all the time, to me, one play can't lose you a game, but one play in a key situation can fuck you over very hard in a game. And that essentially ended the game. Not essentially, that ended the game. Because the Chiefs kneeled the ball out after that and then kicked the field goal. Because the Eagles had no timeouts. That's very frustrating when you make that call, knowing that if that call is not made, then you get a field goal, and now the Eagles get a chance at trying to tie or win the game. And with the way Jalen Hurts had played, I understand the frustration that a lot of Philadelphia fans and a lot of the NFL fans had with, like, yo, you don't give Jalen Hurts a chance to match or win after the game he just had, because he probably is the MVP of this Super. It's not no probably. He is definitely the MVP of the Super Bowl if the Eagles win this game. So I understand everybody's frustration when it comes down to that. I get it all. At the end of the day, though, it was a hold. So regardless of if I feel like that should not have been called in that moment because it didn't truly affect the play, it was. Now, it's other plays that happen in this game. Like I say, one play don't cost you a game, but it can severely fuck you in a certain situation. Jalen Hurts had a fumble in this game that led to a touchdown. The Eagles had Now, I would say that Devontae Smith play. Devontae Smith caught that pass. So I am very confused as to how. To me, the catch rule is just god awful, bro. It's god awful. The 2 feet have to be in bounds, but I can bobble the catch after I get out of bounds, and it can make it not a catch. That don't make sense. Like, bro, anything that happened after I'm out of bounds don't matter. If I'm holding on to the ball and I got possession while I'm in bounds, the bobble that happened after shouldn't matter. I just hit the ground. The way physics work, the ball probably gonna move a little bit. That's physics. But while I was in the field of play, I caught this pass. I don't understand some of these NFL rules, bro. Like, this catch rule continue to get convoluted as hell. That was a catch by Devontae Smith, and it got ruled a no catch. It just makes absolutely no sense. But nonetheless, the Eagles did not play a perfect game that the Eagles had played all year. As a matter of fact, this might have been the worst defensive performance the Eagles had this year, up there with that Cowboys performance they had. They let Pat Mahomes do whatever he wanted to do in the second half of this. And shout out to Eric Bieniemy. Bro, I don't know what he did at halftime. I don't know what plays he was drawing up or what he saw. But whatever he saw, and I got to go to Eric Bieniemy because Andy Reid gave Eric Bieniemy the credit. Whatever he saw at halftime, what an adjustment. Peyton Manning level adjustment. Because the Chiefs scored on every single one of their 4 drives in the second half of the game. The reason it was so many less possessions was because the Eagles had a long ass drive that only led to 3 points because of a penalty towards the end of the drive. But it was even a play on that drive where they got Dallas Goedert made a disgusting catch on 3rd and 14, and they challenged that, but that ended up being called a catch. I just think they got to do something about the catch rule, bro, because it's too many times I done seen, like, I know when it's a catch or not, but some of these is catches, and you taking the catch away because after they hit out of bounds, they bobble it. Bro, I'm out of bounds now. The play is over. It don't matter if I bobble it. Like, I don't like that part of the rule, bro. Like, it's plays in the game where if I'm playing, if you playing street ball and somebody is in the field of play and they hit the ground and the ball come out, you saying that's not a catch. Like, fans can, try to look at that rule however they want to. But when you playing with your homies growing up, when the ball, somehow looking at this play, I lost my train of thought because the same thing happened that I was talking about. Jalen Hurts threw the pass to this dude and he didn't actually catch it. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this. When you growing up and you playing with your homies and whatnot, that play completely threw me off. But when you playing going up with your homies and whatnot, and you catch a pass, you know what's a catch and what's not a catch. Like, we know growing up what's a catch and what's not a catch. So the fact that the NFL done found a way to make is it or is it not a catch so hard at the moment is ridiculous. Because the Devontae Smith catch was a catch. I do not know how that's a big play in the game. So that's my gripe with that. But like I said, it was other moments in the game where you could say the field goal didn't actually cost them the game. I think the biggest problem with the Eagles this game was the defense. The defense didn't put pressure on Pat Mahomes really at all. The offensive line for the Chiefs this was a makeup performance. As bad as they were against the Bucs a couple years ago, this was the makeup performance. This was a flawless performance by the Chiefs offensive line. They went out there and made themselves some money. They kept Patrick Mahomes clean and safe all night. Really, it was on Pat and the offensive game plans to figure this out, because the Chiefs offensive line throughout the duration of the game did not let it get ugly from Pat Mahomes in the pocket. And so if you think about it, it was on Pat, I guess Steve Spagnuolo, and Bieniemy to figure out how can we score, and on the defensive side of the ball, how can we get stops. Now, I don't think the defense ever really got a stop. They did get when you look back at the game now, you'll say they got key stops for the Chiefs side of the ball. I don't know if they got key stops as much as it was. It's good that they got stops, because it was clear that the Eagles defense couldn't get a stop either. So I don't think it was one defense had a better game than the other. I think both defenses really didn't do much of anything this game. But the Eagles defense was a good defense coming into the game. This is why I say a great defense that do everything for you don't matter if they can't make big plays in key situations. The Chiefs defense stepped up, made big plays in key situations. The Eagles defense that's been doing it all year didn't. And so that cheap Chiefs defense, where you only got like two great players, well, one truly great player and some other good players and a lot of young players, all you need for them to do is make big plays in big situations. And so that's exactly what you saw on display, because when you have a quarterback, and listen, I have said multiple times this season, I don't like the Chiefs letting Tyreek Hill go, because, you know, that's them saying we got Pat Mahomes so we can afford to do it. But you don't think about what that put on Pat Mahomes' body and what that put on him not being able to have an easy target and a go-to guy that make it easier for him. And they definitely won't learn their lesson after you win a Super Bowl like this. But that's because you have a Pat Mahomes. And in credit to Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster, all these dudes is number 3 receivers. They all made key plays in key situations. But at the end of the day, this is a Pat Mahomes type of put the team on my back and take it home. And another shout out to the Chiefs defense that, to me, made had big halves or games every single game of the playoffs this year. And that's when they won the Super Bowl that first time with Pat Mahomes. You go through that postseason, the Chiefs defense had big games littered throughout that postseason. Even in the Super Bowl like this one, they go down 10, big second half, they come back. So shout out to the Chiefs defense, because you have to have a defense that understand the moment, that can make big plays for you in big situations. That's what I think the Chiefs continue to have. That's why I say they have one of the better defenses, because they understand we do not have to be great all year. We don't got to lead the league in sacks. We don't have to lead the league in turnovers and all this other fancy stuff. We just got to make big plays when they matter in big games, and we'll be fine, because we got that guy on the other side of the ball. And they right. And so, like I had said all the last 2 weeks, in order to beat a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, where you can't look at one part of their team and say this is a bad spot, you need a quarterback like Pat Mahomes, because the only way to overcome these type of teams is that type of player. It ain't never gonna make sense. How did he just beat that? How did Steph Curry and the Warriors win against Boston last year? Steph Curry. How did LeBron come back from down, and the Cavs come back from down 3-1? LeBron. How did Pat Mahomes beat this stacked Eagle? Pat Mahomes. You need those type of legendary great players in order to win legendary great games. And this was still, to me, a great Super Bowl, even though people will look at it and say, you know, I don't, the play call at the end really soured the game for me, yada, yada, yada. I get all that. But at the end of the day, this was a great Super Bowl. Andy Reid got 2 of them things. He beat his former team. The Eagles can get right back here. Listen, Jalen Hurts was the MVP of the game. Like, I'm not giving him MVP because they lost. But if I was the type of person that did that type of thing, Jalen Hurts could have easily had a case for MVP. He had the better game out of Mahomes and him. But Mahomes' defense came to play. The Eagles' defense did not. It's just plain and simple. I don't even know if they registered a single sack tonight. 2 of the touchdowns they gave up in the second half was easy walk-in touchdown throws. Like, undisciplinedness in the second half. The Eagles' defense picked the worst game to have probably their worst game. Because the offense did more than their part. 35 points from a team. I can't ask you to do too much more. The offense, Jalen Hurts balled out. Dallas Goedert, they didn't have an answer for. Devontae Smith had a game. AJ Brown had a decent game. Like, the one thing that I would say about the Eagles offense, they did not run the ball the way that we done seen them run the ball in the past. And I know some people will take that and be like, well, you know, I wonder if they had ran the ball, would they have been able to run the clock out and yada. That's just not how the game played out. But if it was one thing that you could point to, I guess it would be they didn't run the ball. But I don't really like holding teams accountable because they run it good these games, but they don't do it this game. Sometimes the game don't dictate that you play it like that. And when shit hit the fan, and you ain't got time to think about what you done all year. You got enough time to think about what you're going to do right now. So I'm not going to hold that against the Eagles. They still played a hell of a game and not be able to run the ball. They still put up 35 points. So to me, this is just one of them games. This is a classic game. And while, yes, that call at the end did basically end the game because it ensured that the Eagles would not get the ball back unless a catastrophic turnover happened. Man, it was a good one while it was being played. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. To see 2 African-American quarterbacks in the Super Bowl put on a great performance, it was great. Now, listen, some people will look at Pat Mahomes' stats and be like, well, he only threw for 100 and something yards, so the defense for the Eagles played a good game. No, the Chiefs ran the ball good. Pacheco had a great game. And while you can't look at none of the numbers and think to yourself, oh, well, they didn't put up like crazy. Bro, the Chiefs ran the ball effective enough when they had it. They didn't even win the time of possession, I don't think. And if they got close, it was because the last 2 drives. But the Chiefs coming out in that second half and scoring on every drive, whether it be 7 or 3 points, that was big. You come out, you get to 7, then you get another 7, then you get the Chiefs. This felt like a been there, done that. We're not gonna panic. We were down in the first Super Bowl. We won. We go into this locker room. We not, as much as the time of possession was lopsided, we not getting beat like right now like we were against the Bucks in that Super Bowl. So this is still manageable. We still down by 10 points. That's more than manageable. So you had to know that a team with a Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid wasn't going to panic. But as much as people could talk about that call at the end of the game, it was still a great game. That's the gist of all of this. Now, after this game, you look at Pat Mahomes' legacy, bro. Pat McGoat, bro. I've been saying it all year. This dude is the best quarterback in the NFL, bro. It ain't close. And that's not a disrespect to the dudes who behind him. This dude is just special. 2 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl trips. All 5 of his years starting, he done been to the AFC Championship game. It's the Kansas City Invitational at this point. He has dominated the game. A 2-time All-Pro, 2-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion. This is a ridiculous resume in such a short amount of time. This is stuff you saw back in the day when how lopsided the league was at times. You don't see that in modern NFL times, in modern sports. You know what I'm saying? We thought the last time teams was going to be dominant like the Chiefs was the Patriots and Brady. And here we are. Pat Mahomes only 27, 2 Super Bowls, 3 trips, 5 AFC Championship games, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. That's ridiculous. That's fucking ridiculous. That's insane. So, hey, listen, I don't think it's debatable that he the best quarterback in the NFL, but I don't think he is competing against nobody in the NFL right now. And that's not me saying that can't happen. Lamar Jackson can go win 2 Super Bowls. Joe Burrow can go get him some. You know, it's people could put themselves in the conversation, but right now, Pat Mahomes is in the conversation competing against the likes of Brady, Peyton Manning, the Drew Breeses, the Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he done passed Aaron Rodgers it's in most people's mind. Like, Pat Mahomes is not. It's like I say about Steph Curry and LeBron. Comparing them to players in today's game makes no sense because they are already generational players, top 10 players all time. You have to compare them with other top 10 players, top 15 players. It makes no sense comparing Steph Curry to a Chris Paul or a Damian Lillard. That's a disservice to those other guards because Steph Curry done so much in his career to where he done been so successful, so dominant, so game changing to where we know he greater than those point guards. We know he better than them. So it's not fair to compare him to them. It's not fair every time you look up comparing Kawhi Leonard or Paul George to a LeBron James. We know how great LeBron James is. We know how dominant LeBron done been. We know how generational he done been. So it's not fair to compare him to them because they done surpassed, and respectfully, those type of players done surpassed those type of comparisons. And I think that's where Pat Mahomes is right now. I think that's where George Kittle. I think that's where Travis Kelce is right now. It's going to be fun to continue to say, who the best tight end in the NFL? But Travis Kelce, like I done said multiple times, that's the best tight end I have ever seen with my own 2 eyes. And I gave Gronk the nod for a while, but I just know what my eyes tell me. And I watched Gronk's entire career, and I done watched Travis Kelce's entire career. And I have never seen a tight end like Travis Kelce. To me, even if, and this is the craziest part, if you gave me the option 10 times, who would I take first? Kelce, Gronk, or some other tight end? I'm almost certain I'm taking Travis Kelce. 8 times for sure I'm taking Travis Kelce. But them other 2 times, who knows if I just say fuck it and take Kelce still. That's how great I think Travis Kelce is as a tight end. I don't know if I will ever, bro, the longevity, the fact that he always playing, the fact that he is such a game changer, a needle mover at that position, no flaws in his game. I don't know if I ever seen a tight end run routes as great as a Travis Kelce can. I don't know if I ever seen a tight end get as open as Travis Kelce get open because he understands the zone concepts and the man concepts being played against him. We talk about Gronk's catch radius. Travis Kelce got an insane catch radius and is better after the catch. Gronk, it's not that he run routes and get open. He's just a big dude. Once you forget about how big Gronk is, or matter of fact, if you say, could Gronk be great in a Travis Kelce body? Because I know Travis Kelce with the same skill set he got right now will be great in a Gronk body. I don't know if Gronk's skill sets will be still great and as great as Travis Kelce is in the Travis Kelce. And I know that's a weird comparison and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I think Travis Kelce is the best tight end that I have ever seen play with my own 2 eyes. And Gronk is a number 2 behind him. But this dude, Travis Kelce, I'm happy he got his second one. I'm happy Pat Mahomes got his. I think the NFL need things like this. You need great players to be great. Not only that, you need that player who stand above everybody else. You need somebody that people is gunning for. That even on years where he don't win, the following year, you like, well, Pat Mahomes, Super Bowl. You need that. Matter of fact, this was a beautiful year to have it because in the year where Joe Burrow and Josh Allen feel like they was getting loved up on every time you turned around. And then it felt like people was actually starting to say these dudes was better than Mahomes. You needed Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs to come through and do what just happened tonight. And it felt like a lot of the celebration that they had was a big, we did it. We did it again. We back. We accomplished. It's not necessarily we didn't think we could do it. We knew we could do it. But now that we accomplished it, it's like a big, okay, we is still the big dogs of the AFC. Because you hear the Chiefs dudes, I mean, the Cincinnati, Joe Mixon start talking about they the big dogs that go through them. And they haven't even won nothing. So to see the Chiefs show you how it's done, not only can we talk, we didn't need to, or we don't have to, and we show you that we beat the good teams, and then we go and win the Super Bowl against a team that nobody picked us against. You know, this is why Travis Kelce said you got to fight for your right to party. I'm not yelling, bro. You got to fight for your right. But listen. That's the greatness of Kansas City, man. And this team going to be around for a long time. And I love that you have a great quarterback, because this is the thing. I'm pretty sure Travis Kelce won't play as long as Pat will play. That's just the nature of the beast, the position that Travis play. But the thing is, if they go out and get Pat Mahomes legitimate weapons now, like go get him a legitimate receiver, bro, I'm telling you, this is every year he gonna be in this conversation because he is Pat Mahomes, bro. It just said this is why I like it when the best quarterback in the NFL, and he is legitimately, to me, is unquestioned. I know you got these analysts who like to try to say Burrow, Allen. Unquestioned, to me, Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL and has been that. When the best quarterback in the NFL is the one winning championships also, that do something different to the sport. You know how the NBA felt when you thought LeBron was the best player in the NBA and he was winning championships? And you know how you felt when you thought he was the best player in the NFL? I mean, in the NBA, but wasn't winning championships? It's a different feel. You can market it different. You feel different. It looked different. It's talked about different. So to me, I love the big dogs going in there and getting it done. Because while, yeah, they probably felt like the underdogs, that's because of the complete team effort that Philadelphia had. Not because you felt like just off of pure skill, Jalen Hurts was better than Pat Mahomes or Pat Mahomes was lacking in talent. No, Pat Mahomes is still him. He is still, and for the bozos out there who, didn't think Pat Mahomes was the best quarterback, I don't know if this performance is going to prove to you that he was or convince you that he was, because clearly you are not of a logical thinking mind to not have thought that he was the best quarterback coming into this game. But listen, this is the type of win that cement Pat Mahomes is. Yeah, if Pat Mahomes retired right now, he a first ballot Hall of Famer. He walk into Canton right now, no questions asked, first ballot. But what he is doing right now, bro, imagine if he can. Now, I don't know how many more chips he could get because it's a lot of great quarterbacks. And eventually a team going to figure out how to put the right team around their quarterback to get him over this hump. But I'm telling you, it's not a lot of teams that I believe can be led by a quarterback that could be lacking in so many different areas on a team like Pat Mahomes was this year and go into another stadium or go in and win against a team like the Eagles. I believe Lamar could do it because I done seen the talent he done had around him. But he not as great as Pat Mahomes either. I don't know if Burrow and Allen could do it because I've never seen them have to play without talent. And when I saw Josh Allen play without talent, he was nowhere near as good as he is now. And on top of that, they not as good as Pat Mahomes. So and you want to know what's very interesting to me? I hear people talk about all the time, oh, well, quarterbacks that get paid never win. Well, that's because when they get paid, most teams don't put talent around them. So it's hard for that expensive quarterback to win a Super Bowl for you when he still is not playing with top tier talent. Pat Mahomes got paid and he ain't got top tier talent all around his offense. But Pat Mahomes is just a different animal. This should have proved it. I told you. In order to beat a team like the Eagles, you need a player like Patrick Mahomes. A generational player. Just a different breed of player, bro. I'm telling you, that's what it was. The Eagles, listen, the Eagles, as bad as I think they played defensively, the Eagles could have easily won this game against any other team, but the difference was Pat Mahomes, bro. Pat Mahomes. He is just a different animal. And like I said, whatever they figured out in the second half of this game, shout out to them because they They absolutely mollywopped the Eagles defense in the second half of this game. I don't remember the last time I seen the Eagles get handled like this in a game. Like that was actually pretty crazy. But shout out to this Kansas City Chiefs, man. What a season. Now, it's interesting to see what's going to happen with the Eagles. Now, the Eagles can be bozos and not give Jalen Hurts an extension at the end of the season and watch that price balloon up. Or they can go ahead and do what's right and pay Jalen Hurts. But very interested to see where they go after the season. Obviously, they're going to lose a lot of the pieces on this team because a lot of these dudes, for one, wasn't on long-term contracts. A lot of dudes going to want to get paid elsewhere and things of that nature. But if Howie Roseman done shown us anything is that he can rebuild a Super Bowl team, and it don't really take him that long to. So I'm going to lean towards the Eagles to be fine, especially when you already got the biggest piece of your team figured out at quarterback, and you done already locked up your number one receiver, and you don't have to pay Devontae Smith yet, even though it's getting close. And you got Dallas Goedert locked up already. You got a great. Now, I'm interested. Do Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey come back? Or are they retiring? I haven't heard rumors about them retiring, but they just up there at that age where it's like, do you think? Because the Eagles offensive line played a phenomenal game tonight. They didn't have Jalen Hurts. It's some blitzes that came in the second half of the game that was some perfectly drawn up blitzes, but it was no bad game by the Philadelphia offensive line. So, those dudes look like they could still be all pros, first team. Do they come back next year? It's going to be interesting to see where you at as a Philadelphia organization next year, but I think you'll be a successful team regardless as long as you got Jalen Hurts and those dudes out there. To me, this is just too talented of a team. Unless they're getting rid of like 80% of the talent on this team, the Philadelphia Eagles should be fine going into next season. I don't think this was a one-stop trip for them, much like the Bengals. I think it's just too much talent for these two teams to just go to the Super Bowl one time and then just become a bad team the next season. And it was different with the Bengals. To me, the Bengals didn't dominate the way the Eagles dominated this year. The Bengals had a lot of 50-50 type of wins last year, whereas the Eagles had a lot of dominant performances. I think the Eagles will be back to the Super Bowl. I don't know, because who knows? You got to, if you don't got Pat Mahomes, then I can't pencil you into the Super Bowl. And even with Pat Mahomes, I don't be penciling him into the Super Bowl. I always give him a chance to get there, but that's about it. Because you just never know how the league rotate on a year-to-year basis. But to me, the Eagles are a great team, great organization. Sucks to be a Philadelphia fan in general right now because the Eagles lost this Super Bowl this season. The Phillies lost the World Series this season. And they lost an MLS Cup this season. Like, Philadelphia just going through it right now, sports-wise. Like, can't win the big one. In the last 3 months, that's not happened. Like, that's tough. Like, bro, what if the Philadelphia hockey team get to the World Cup and lose that shit too? That, or whatever you call the Stanley Cup. But that'd be tough. Oh, that'd be so tough, bro. Shout out to Philly sports. But Jalen Hurts, to me, like, you look at his game, 27-38, 304 yards, touchdown, no interceptions. He ran for 3 touchdowns, 70 yards on the ground. What a game. What a performance. Like, in no way. This remind me of the Alexander Volkanovski fight last night against, I do not know how to pronounce this dude's name, bro. The dude who always with Khabib, bro. He the lightweight champion, I think, at the moment. Or Volk had a phenomenal performance in a loss where it's hard for me to go at Volk because he went up in weight. And a lot of people thought he won the fight. So this is one of those things where I know Jalen Hurts lost, but it wasn't like he lost because he played a terrible game or the moment got too big. Jalen Hurts balled the fuck out and did more than enough to get his team a win in this game. You talk about the one fumble he had, but he still gave you 4 total touchdowns. So I don't know how I'm mad at that. I mean, because then you look at Pat Mahomes, 27 of 27, 182, 3 touchdowns, 44 rushing yards, no touchdowns on the ground. He outproduced Pat Mahomes. Sometimes the game just don't work in your favor. The football guys are a cruel bunch of individuals at times. But what a season, man. What a season. I think two of the most deserving teams I done seen in recent memory got to the Super Bowl, in a sense that they played so well during the regular season that you felt like, man, if these two teams can get to the Super Bowl, that would be so dope, because you saw the season that they had, and you know that they more than deserving. Every team that get there is deserving. But you look at these two teams especially and you say, yeah, they deserve to be here. They earned this. And so shout out to both teams. I know this is going to hurt Philadelphia for a while, but what a season. What a team. What a quarterback. What a coach. And same to the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it's just hard as hard as it is to beat a team like Philadelphia, is that much harder to beat a Kobe Bryant, a Steph Curry, a LeBron James, a Michael Jordan, a Patrick Mahomes, a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning. These are some of the toughest challenges one can face. I'd rather walk Barry Bonds than try to strike him out. That's the reality of greatness. And so you can beat everybody and think you got it figured out and think you great. But when you go up against that guy, shit get real quick. And this was just one of those games where not only did he have a great game, he didn't turn the ball over. I know people look at his yards and say, oh, he only threw for 182. But look at the game and you see the important things that he did, especially in the second half of this game. What a performance. So another great NFL year. I'm not going to sign off by saying, I appreciate y'all for joining me all year. And yada. Because while the season has ended, the NFL content's not over. But I do appreciate y'all for joining me throughout the 2022-23 NFL season. I do appreciate that. The football content will still be coming through all off season. What a Super Bowl. Cannot wait to start talking about the off season and what my predictions going into next season. But it has been a beautiful 2022 season. And it ended with a phenomenal game. And the right team won. The right quarterback won. Pat Mahomes now 2-1 in the Super Bowl. Shout out to Pat McGoat. Appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint, the Super Bowl edition. Why is it the Super Bowl edition? Because we recapping the Super Bowl that just happened. You dig? You dig. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You can be anything in the world, man. Choose to be kind to somebody today. I fuck with you. I love you. God bless football. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.